wonderful Wednesday. I hope you are ready to keep working with our awesome skip counting skills. So let's get started. Okay, Super Scholars, our learning target looks pretty similar, but it's a little bit different at the end. It says I can skip count up to 100. We've been working on that. Using ones and tens, we've been doing that. Between any two numbers. Between any two numbers. So in the past, we have been working a lot with some of our simple tens. The numbers that are all the way in the right. The numbers that only have value in the tens place. For example, we were just working with 57 to 80. We had a simple 10. But now today, on our next level of skip counting, we no longer will start or end with a simple 10. When we're starting with a simple 10, it makes it just a little bit easier to skip count. So today we're getting away from using one of those 10 numbers, and we're going to practice still using our skills of counting with tens and ones, but looking at our game plan a little bit differently. So it's a little bit of a challenge, and I love it. So your whiteboard is going to be back out with you and ready to work, because this is our first challenge. So together we're going to skip count from 12 to 57. 12 to 57. Notice that neither of these numbers are one of our nice clean 10 numbers. They both have value in the tens and ones place. So let's figure out how we're going to get there. Let's first write down our starting point. So we're starting at 12. Can you write that down with me? We're starting at 12, the nice number 12. And we want to get to 57. We can start counting with either the ones or the tens, but our goal is going to remain the same. To get there the quickest way possible, and to go from 1 10 and 2 ones to 5 tens and 7 ones. We have the same goal no matter how we start. But how should we start? What do you think? Should we start counting by tens or ones on this first try? Which one? Tens again? Okay, let's start counting by tens. So if we're at 12, I'm going to get my red marker out for tens. And if we're going to start counting by tens, we want to go from 1 10 to 5 tens. When we're skip counting with tens and ones, what we want to pay really close attention to is deciding when we need to switch values. So right now we're starting with tens. We need to figure out and really look for when it's going to be the best time to switch to counting by ones so we can get to 57 the quickest way. So we're looking for that. When should we switch? So let's first start with tens. In our 12, which place value is going to change if we're adding tens? The 1 or the 2? The 1 is going to be changing because it's in the tens place. So if we skip count up 10, we're going to have 22. The tens place is getting bigger. Keep going. 32, and then 42, and 52. Good job. Should we keep going and get 62? Does it make sense to keep going by tens? No, it doesn't, because we're going to go past our destination. So we know we want to stop counting by tens when we hit 52. Okay, Super Scholars, what are we going to do now? We have 52. What's the quickest way to get to 57? How do we want to switch? What are we going to count by now? We want to count by ones. That's going to be the quickest way to get between these two numbers. So now, what place value is going to change? The 5 or the 2, if we're counting by ones? The 2 is going to be changing because it's in the ones place. So if we add a 1, we're going to have 53. Keep going. 54, and then 55, and 56, and 57. There we go. We reached our destination and got 57. And we did this by counting by tens first and figuring out that we had to switch at 57 to counting by ones. Let's see how quick this path was. How many times did we count up? Let's see, can you count with me? How many tens did we count? 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens. How many ones did we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We counted 4 tens and 5 ones. This is the quickest way to get from 12 to 57. So, we counted by tens first. Can we switch it up and see what happens when we're counting by ones? Okay, everybody reset your board, reset, reset. I'm doing it too. Awesome. Okay, we still have the same task. We're just gonna switch our game plan up a little bit. So we're gonna start counting by ones now. So if we're starting with ones, in 12, which digit is gonna be changing? Because which digit is in the ones place? The 2 is going to change as we count by ones. So, we have 12, one more will be 13, keep going, 14, and then 15, and 16, and then 17, good job. Okay, look, let's pause and take a look. In 17, we have 7 ones. In 57, we have 7 ones. So, how can we get between these two numbers the fastest? They have the same amount of ones, but their tens are changing. What's going to be the quickest way now? We want to count by tens now. We want to switch to tens because that's all we have left to change. So, let's see, if we have 17, 1 10, and 7 ones, one more 10 will be 27, and then 37, and then 47, and 57. There we go. We got to 57. And we were able to decide when to switch between ones and tens. Now, let's see if this was just as quick as starting with the tens. Let's take a look. How many ones did we count? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ones. How many tens? 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens. This was just as quick as last time. 5 ones and 4 tens. I love that there's multiple ways to count between these two numbers as long as it's the quickest way. So Super Scholars, we're now going to switch our task, work with 2 different numbers. So let's reset and get ready for a new challenge. Okay, awesome people, here is our next task. We need to count between 57 to 79. So 57 is now going to be our starting point. So let's go ahead and write that down. We are now starting at 57. So we're trying to get from 5 tens, 7 ones, to 7 tens, 9 ones. Which way should we start counting first? Should we start counting with our ones or with our tens? What do you think we should try first? Our ones. We're switching to starting with our ones. Okay, let's figure out our shortest path. So I have my blue marker for my ones, and we're going to start counting by ones. So let's see. In 57, which place value is going to change? The 5 or the 7 for counting by ones? The 7 is going to be be changing because the 7's in the 1's place. So we have 57. We're going to add a 1. We're going to have 58, and then 59. Oh, do we want to keep going? Do we want to keep going, or take a look? What's happening? What do you see between these two numbers? They have the same amount of ones. 9 ones and 9 ones. So if two numbers have the same amount of ones, and look, all that's different is the tens, 5 tens and 7 tens. What's going to be the quickest way to get between them now? It's not going to be the ones place. We now need to count by tens. Tens are going to get us there way quicker. We have 5 tens and we need 7. So let's see. If we're going to now start counting up by tens, 59 would become 69, and then we would have 79. Good job. We got where we needed to go. And we knew when to switch, counting from ones to tens. So this seems like a pretty quick path. Let's see how short it was. So how many ones did we count? 1, 2. How many tens did we count? 1 ten, 2 tens. So this was 2 ones and 2 tens. A super quick path. So we started counting with the ones. Can we switch it up and see what happens when we start with our tens? Okay, everybody, here's my eraser. Let's all reset together and try it our other way. Dun-dun-dun. Okay, we're still at 57, but this time we're going to start with our tens to see what happens. So we're at 57. We want to start counting by tens. So will the 5 or the 7 place be changing for counting by tens? What's going to change? The 5 is going to change because it's in the tens place. So if we count up 1 10, we're going to have 67, and then 77. Do we want to keep going? 87? Is that going to work? No, that's not going to work. 87 would go past our final place we're trying to get to. So if we know we can't count another 10, what's the fastest way to get between 77 and 79? How can we get there the quickest and the straightest way? We can start counting by ones. We can start counting by ones. So let's switch our mindset. The ones place is now going to change. So 77 would now be 78, and then 79. Good job. There we go. We got to our goal. So this time we started with tens and then changed to ones. Let's see if this way is just as quick. Here we go. How many tens did we count? 1 10, 2 tens. How many ones did we count? 1, 2. There you go. It was exactly the same. 2 tens and 2 ones. We just were reversing it from last time. Okay, awesome people. We're doing an awesome job upping up our skills. So we're going to try one more together. So let's reset that whiteboard and see what you got. But before we can do that, it is time to move our bodies during skip counting. So come on, stand up and get ready for our this or that. Da-da-da. My question for you is, would you rather have a sleepover in a castle? If so, you're going to balance for 5 seconds. Or would you rather have a sleepover in a lighthouse? If so, you're going to run for 5 seconds. So where would you rather have a sleepover? A castle or a lighthouse? What do you think? I'm going to choose a lighthouse because castles are so big. I feel like I would get nervous. But take your pick and figure out how you're going to move your body. Okay, 5 seconds. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is it. We are all done. Good job getting your body moving. So come on, sit right back down because your whiteboard is waiting for you with our last challenge. We are going to now skip count from 43 to 68. So we're trying to get from 4 tens, 3 ones to 6 tens, 8 ones. And this time what you're going to do is you're going to pause the video and test for yourself how you're doing. This is a time for you to just check in and see if you are able to work on this skill independently. So before we pause, I want us all to start the same way, of course. So make sure we have 43 started on our whiteboard. And this first round, I want everyone to start counting by tens. So we're all going to start counting by tens first. And you have to figure out, when do I need to switch to ones to get to 68 the quickest way? So this is your challenge. You can pause the video for as long as you want, but you're going to try it on your own and then come back and check with me to see what you got. So we're starting with the tens. Let's all go give it a try. Here we go. Okay, how did you do, second grade? So I have written up here how I skip counting starting with the tens. So let's take a look. Did you have the same as me? We had 53, 63, and we couldn't count one more 10 because we'd go past. So this is when we had to switch to the ones. 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. And we reached our destination at the end. We knew to change at 63 to counting by ones because one more 10 would have got us past where we needed to go. Let's see. How much did we count? How many tens did we count? Let's take a look. 1 10, 2 tens. 2 tens. How many ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. We counted up 2 tens and 5 ones. So now we're going to try and reverse it on our own and start with ones instead. Okay, now I want us to all reset together. So erase your board, because we are going to try and reverse the process. So we just tried starting with tens, and now we're going to try and skip count to 68 starting with ones. So the same thing's going to happen. We're all going to start at 43, and we're all going to start with ones, and it's going to be your job to try and figure out, when do I need to switch to counting by tens to get to my destination the quickest way? So you're just checking in with yourself, trying it out on your own, and then coming back to the video to see how you did. Give it your best shot. It's okay if you get it wrong. We're just trying it out. So here we go. Okay, awesome people. How'd you do on this one? Starting with the ones. What happened? How did it go? So this is my drawing of starting with the ones. I knew to switch from the ones to skip count by tens when I saw that my number had the same amount of ones. 48 has 8 ones and 68 has 8 ones. So when I reached this point, I knew that the quickest way to get to 68 was to count by tens. And I was able to get there super quickly. So just check in with yourself. Were you able to switch at this point when you had the same amount of ones and then you were able to quickly switch to your tens place? Let's see if this was just as quick. Okay, let's count. How many ones did we count? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. How many tens? 1 10, 2 tens. Good job. It was the same amount. tens just as quick as before. Good job, Super Scholars, working on your own and checking in with yourself. This kind of activity gives us awesome feedback of what we already know and what we still need to work on. So now it's going to be your total time to work as an independent mathematician and skip count on your own. So let's check out what your goal is today. Okay, this is your independent task. You're going to skip count from 32 to 99. So you're going to go from 3 tens and 2 ones to 6 tens and 6 ones. And you are going to skip count this on a video showing it 2 different ways. So first off, I want you to skip count from 32 to 66 with drawings, just like we practiced, where we start at 32, and you practice drawing out your skip counting so you can really see when the best time is to switch between ones or tens. When you've skip counted using your drawings and you've drawn out what you counted, then I want you to cover it up. I want you to challenge yourself and cover it up so you no longer can see what you wrote, and try then to skip count on your own without any drawings or looking what you already wrote. So there's 2 parts to today's task. Everyone's going to skip count from 32 to 66, but in your video, I want to see you first skip counting with your drawings so they can guide you and you can see what's happening. And when you've got that down, cover it up so you can no longer see it, and try to skip count just on your own, just in your head. Give yourself a challenge. This is another check-in. What do I still need to work on to be able to skip count on my own in my head? So this one might take a little more work today, but that's okay, because that means your mathematician brain is going to grow. So Super Scholars, this is your next challenge to tackle. I can't wait to see all of you work super hard on it today. So get your whiteboard ready and let's get counting.